Girona find themselves bottom of the La Liga table, despite a relatively strong team with some relatively strong players for FC26 ratings. It's a place they shouldn't be, not only because of their very strong squad, but because of their links to the City group. They've got tremendous backing. They're part of a chain of clubs all hailed by Manchester City, in which they do swap and switch players to hopefully make them all step up the leagues. But with Girona in trouble, they're going to fly me out. I've already got my suntan to make Girona a better club, although we've got to adhere to the City group links and win the Champions League with them. As yes guys, welcome back. We are back in Spain for a big rebuild I'm very excited about. Players like Martinez, Tiskankov, Gazaniga, Reece on loan from Manchester City. This team should not be bottom of La Liga. With 80 rated on the bench, Frances another youngster, Stuani, who was at Middlesbrough, wasn't it? Not City, but still a link to the Premier League with him. There is Ladislav Kreki on loan at Wolves, doing okay, despite Wolves' struggles. And Donny van de Beek, a Manchester United link, although this is going to be a rebuild focused on them City ones. Not just City though, you can see multiple clubs are part of the ownership, and we can only sign from said clubs to make Girona better and eventually win that Champions League. I think we should be doing not in too long. However, players I thought would be important to us are actually much older than I thought. Stuani being one of them, Axel Witsel, Daley Blind, and Christian Porto. I remember when this guy was younger, he was bossing it with Girona when I believe they made a European push a few seasons ago. Basically, this team is a mess. We've only got 4 million in our budget, but we are using life points, so we can't spend it. And our next game, Getafe, and we have sacked the ex-manager, so we get to rule the Roosters, if that is actually a saying. And I'm going to start off by trying to sign some players up, including Pape Bar and probably David Lopez, then leave it at that because the other ones are the old guys and I do want to reset this squad. We've got youngsters like Yastin out on loan, Kamara, Minsu, and I think this can work in the future. We've just got to take our time with it and use the links that we obviously can do. No signings in this first season. Now we are technically in trouble, so I'm going to stay deep. I'm going to go for a counter style of play. I'm going to go for this 4-3-3. Two playmakers in the attack. Axel Witsel comes back when he needs to do, covering that defense, which we obviously have him for one season, so I hope he does correctly. And I'm going to use the players we have whilst we do have them. I'm going to put the best into the squad. In Stuani, and actually I'm going Witsel in the defense to start off with. Not going to trust Reece. I'm going to have Martin, the man who drops back, as injuries have crippled us. Alejandro Frances out for 12 days. Juan Carlos, the backup goalie. We don't even have a rotational one. Lopez, one of our centre-halves, who's 36 anyway, injured. This could be a long season with Van der Beek, another player unavailable to play. And I'm just hoping we survive Season 1, as the rest of the money that we started with has gone to coaches, as well as 1 or 2 contracts, because I did want our best players signed up for a long time. We'll be signing from the likes of City and the likes of other clubs, I'm going to tell you shortly. For a while, but one player that did sign up is Tiskankov, changing to a winger to fit our shape, same as Porto, but he's actually going to retire soon. I hate that, and Brian Hill, nowhere near a winger, maybe because I forgot to change him, as this is the team that hasn't played, because when we change it to the one we have, that is actually the better players into the lineup. With Martinez now our captain, I'm hoping he does stick around, because usually the captain curse happens. Tiskankov with Van Aert, the man who's tried to replace Dovbeek and his goals, but isn't working. We've got Solis, who's only 21, next to Martin and Unai. And growth in some of the youngsters out on loan, like Kreschke, and one who is still at the club, Abel Ruiz, who I believe has been at Leeds United. I might be wrong on that, and it looks like he hasn't scored many goals. Van Aert the most. Then Unai, who I do like, the Moroccan centre mid, was very good at the World Cup a few seasons ago. Tiskankov, brilliant, is Victor. Then Brian Hill, +3, and he hasn't got his afro anymore. He doesn't look like one of the rejected Beatles, as we do survive. Levante finishing bottom, then Oviedo, then Elche, us in 15th. Brilliant work. 7 points clear, climbed ourselves from the bottom of the league and reached a quarter-final, losing on penalties to Rayo Vallecano. In the Copa de España, which they were in, and maybe we could put a Conference League fight together for our second season, but signings won't be easy. Signing from the City group, and there's only one huge club in City part of that group. We're going to have to try and find some gems, maybe looking into potential, making the seasons longer, but if you're ready for this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like, as we're aiming for 70,000 subscribers. That before the end of the year, if we're lucky, as international duty, Vanat and Tyskankov must be Ukraine doing very well at a tournament. Same as Morocco, and we should lose Axel Witsel this season. We've got Krejci back for the defense. I was going to say we needed to actually sign a defender. However, there he goes, the left footer. Him and Frances look unbelievable together. Solis is the lowest rated, but he's still 21 himself. And hang about, have we lost some players? Because I thought we had some decent potential. Jasper Asprilla has moved to Brentford, leaving us. And because we've simmed a season, we actually can't see if any more left us. I think we might have lost one or two, but Asprilla was a big miss. Replaced with Minsu as a backup winger, who still could be pretty decent himself. And hey, we've got a budget. Not a big one, 38 million. However, as a team just surviving, I will take it. And Brian Hill, we're going to change him to a winger. I think we are covered for the wing position still, despite losing our Colombian, as we could lose another one as well. I don't want to actually sell him, but Solis has to be replaced in this team, with it being a crucial position. And I'm also watching the age of this man who moved from Aston Villa. Moreno is 33. There's a place on the bench welcoming him. So let's visit the first club we'll visit. And I think I've got to go with the obvious. Getting the quality in, Manchester City. I am going to try and not just go to them. And I might not just look at CDMs for them, but I am going to look firstly there. Nico Gonzalez will be a perfect sign-in, but he's actually quite expensive at 33.5 million. Then Calvin Phillips gone down too much. We've got Rodri sneaking on there. And also Mamadou Susoho, but then we've got Kovacic, old, but could do a job. Going to keep him in mind, but I'm going to go to City for a different position. As Rico Lewis, if we could get him slightly cheaper, he can play left back. And with O'Reilly being the standout Man City graduate, it's a Jude Bellingham-esque move bringing an Englishman over to Spain, but I don't see it as unrealistic. Part of the same ownership group. Swap him across to left back, but you just saw the amount we paid for the Englishman, as I just look at him and think he could play abroad. He doesn't remind me of Bellingham, more like Trent being a fullback, so get him in the team. That is Moreno onto the bench, leaving a very strong one actually. Van der Beek and Porto getting older, Minsu getting older but better, Ruiz, Moreno, Daley Blind, another kind of older, but still a very decent squad as 5 million. Maybe we need to sell a player to get one in. And this is when Sprilla's money would have been really helpful. However, the other clubs in the City link, like Troyes, which we're going to visit next. Is it Troyes or Troyes? I don't know how you pronounce it, but they shouldn't have expensive players. So maybe we don't spend too much on one. And Martin Adeline maybe becomes the backup to Solis, and we don't have to replace Solis after all. Just about to say, Solis has his own backup. I've been training him as a DM, but he's actually gone into the team because I think you guys realize what I'm realizing. Realize that this man is gone. Who was Adawi? Now Adeline. Lewis is in, of course. Arnau stays as the right back. Starting, and we've got position changes to make, like Minsu on the wing. We've got Tyskankov, the best rated, and then Gil. I think we're fine for wingers, as long as we're doing this save, and maybe we're fine for strikers. Vanat with some big growth, and the two Ukraine boys doing very well. I think at this point in any ordinary save, I'd probably try and sign Sudakov to join that link in the midfield, but obviously we cannot sign from Shakhtar Donetsk. Not part of the City group. Ivan Martin, though, he's done some hard carrying now that this man's left the club. 23.9 million made off Inter. Big money and big potential in him. Despite his dribbling carrying, we need to try and replace him next season, and centre mid should be easier than the fullback positions we've focused on. And now it is not a good season, 12th, but it's not relegation threatened. We have only made 2 signings, one being a fullback that was the same rating as Moreno, or maybe one higher, and the other one being a midfielder who's had to thread in for a better midfielder that left. So overall, I'm not too disappointed. Barcelona and, of course, the normal suspects in the top 4. We need to try and push Athletic Club out. At some point in this save, we've got the quarterfinals again against Atleti, and it can only go up with more signings, as I'm very ready for season number 3. Because things should be getting better. I'm not putting pressure on the Champions League, but hopefully getting to Europe. And I didn't even swap Rico Lewis around yet. Same as Minsu, who steps up to a 73, a decent backup. And speaking of backups, Adeline will return to being a DM. And not a very bad one at that. He only cost 3 million and he's 23. On par with Donny van der Beek, who goes into the team for now, but will be kicked out. Same as Daley Blind on the bench, because we have this man, Jakuposhvili, who looks a potential stunner, but is behind 2 stunners in Frances and Kreshki, who I don't think I'll be getting rid of. And the objective is European competition with 58 million now. With money from Unnauhi should have propped us up. After the Moroccan left, as I'm going to visit some of the teams lower down in the City group to see if there is any hidden stars, and we'd start with Mumbai City, who you can tell is part of the City group with, of course, the badge they have. A decent player right there in Tomislav McGinn of Australia. But no, there's no one here I want to sign. Sorry, lads. Your best player is Jon Toral, who I remember in the Championship, I believe, with Hull City. If I'm thinking of the right man, but Australia reminds me of another team who are part of the City group, and that is Melbourne City. Do Melbourne have any good players? Maybe a backup goalie we could use. Patrick Beach, if he was a little better, that potential could be reached. But you know what? Mehdi Mehmeti, not good skills, not good weak foot. Probably don't get the best out of this guy, but I'm going to sign him just to be different from the other clubs. As now I've realised he's lower rated than Rocker, same as Ruiz on the bench. So yeah, isn't going to get much game time, but still, if we could maybe change his positioning, or maybe Ruiz's positioning to replace Porto once he does retire, Mehmeti might get some game time, but it's a midfielder we need to start in our team. And that does mean I am unfortunately going back to the head of the group for a player that will stir us in the right direction. Manchester City have to be visited. And you know one player I haven't looked into much? Naipan, who's growing very quickly and won't cost too much money, only 12.5, so you know what that means? With us losing a midfielder last year who was pretty good and experienced, but not going to be there for very long in Orhan, I think Kovacic matches the bill, so I'm going to sign him up. I wanted him in Season 1, that is our veteran player. And then Naipan's going to sit behind him as we do steal City's midfield. And what did I say? We needed to just beat Athletic Club to that 4th position in La Liga, and we go ahead and do such the thing. 7 defeats isn't much at all, you know. We really played our socks off. 77 points, still nowhere near Real Madrid. On top of the league and on top of the Copa de España, winning it 4-0. They will be a hard team to beat, as they beat us in the round of 16. Players like Jude Bellingham, Arda Güler growing into shape, and even Omar Mamouche alongside Mbappe, a player we could have signed. Despite our attack being A-OK, we've got Van Aert at an 87, Tyskan at an 88, Gil has gone to an 89. He could not reach that at all at Tottenham. Then we've got Rico, Kreshki, Frances, Martinez. The defence and forward line is perfect. It's the lines in the middle I'm not sure on. Solis has potential, but not there yet. Kovacic old, Marin and Gazaniga, both the same, with Severe Naipan coming through the ranks a bit. He has got a +4, and then Martin is only 29 actually. I thought he'd be a lot older. We've got Kovacic getting 6 goals, 5 assists, despite going down the 1 rating, and the goal scorers are elsewhere anyway. Martin doing very well, then Tysgankov, the new captain, Van Aert with 24 goals. Don't know why the armband's gone to Victor. I want to give it Martinez. I really like him. He's been here a long time. He's been loyal and has had a great season. But it's our other fullback, Rico Lewis, who makes the team of the year. And this Champions League budget is being very nice to us. 119 million. Don't mind if I do. Surely we can actually compete with Real Madrid a little bit. With the expectations being like our job security, safe, reach the Champions League again, a semi-final reasonable of both competitions we enter. As yeah, this team should get us to semis. The whole international duty players, apart from Mateo Kovacic, are fine. Them 2 lines. It's just this line in the middle I want to fix up a little bit more, and in goal. And then our bench is looking relatively strong. I'm going to zoom in on it. We've got Mehmeti Mehmeti, Ruiz, Minsu, Naipan, who I want to get in the team. Jakob Avili's been really good. The backup goalkeeper I trust. However, there are 3 clubs I haven't even visited part of the City group yet. And we are into the 4th season. And plus, I've not actually physically sold players to get new ones in. So maybe we sell and maybe we sign from a new club. Replace a bench option for a bench option who might be just as good to make sure we've signed from other teams. As hangabout, I couldn't find Yokohama anywhere, so maybe they're not actually in the game. But NYC are in it. Oh, sorry, Red Bull New York, not New York City anymore. There's a backup goalie in Carlos Miguel Coronel. Might sign him because our one is lacking. And hey, a left back with potential. Moreno was pretty weak on the bench. This couldn't have worked out more perfect. Miguel has an in-game face, and Marcelo Morales doesn't, but still, he's the position we needed. As are they Champions League quality? Well, no. They aren't at all, but they are quality for the bench, and I am going to now be selling some players, as yes, the budget's big enough, but we are in the Champions League. We're going to go for it, because why not when we have a budget and we can make it bigger and we can sign from City? As out goes Porto, club legend, but I'm going to try and get $500,000 for him, with Donny van der Beek also going. Just never was going to work out for the veteran. And then the one that might surprise you most, Paulo Gazzaniga, going to the Premier League, as yes, our starting goalkeeper. We have signed Coronel up, but he is not going to play in the Champions League, and we do have 144. You might be thinking, Max, you're going to City, you're going to steal someone like James Trafford, but have I introduced you to Palermo, another one of the City group? And not only do they have Desplanches, a brilliant goalkeeper who can grow, but they have Joel Asakari, who looks absolutely phenomenal. And I saw before actually going and signing the Red Bull keeper, I knew this man was going to be the starter. I knew Coronel was going to be the backup, as there he is into the team, and we have made some extra dough from selling the other players, as we've got a bigger budget than the one I believe we started with. On the border of £117 million to spend, and yes, we've got rid of a quality keeper. I'm going to trust Ascari to start, and we've signed from every City group team apart from Mumbai City, who we have had a look at and eventually decided against, as I'm going to decide against changing Abel Ruiz to a winger, because our backups are actually really good. It's the midfielder I'm going to work on. I know we've got Naipan, but another midfielder and maybe a replacement for Solis. As I tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to sign Nico Gonzalez, who I've looked at loads, and then I'm going to get Ryan Cherky, who has grown at Manchester City, and I'm going to risk a change in defensive approach. I'm going to go high but stay with the counter, stealing City's midfield once again to get Gonzalez and Cherky in there. And I shouldn't be making this change at the end of the season, but Nico Gonzalez needs to change to an 87 centre mid. Of course, we don't play CDMs. With Solis still trying to train there himself, we do have Sverre Naipan, who will be the backup cam, and he's gone to an 85, almost the same as Cherky. Mental, but Cherky's not getting displaced. He's a 90 rating, and this team of Girona's absolutely bloody phenomenal. We've got a 91 in the defense, a 91 on actually the entire left-hand side, an 82 in goals, pretty shambolic, but we fixed the midfield. And shout out Ivan Martin, who is 30-year-old, but stayed in this team. Does have an in-game face, and he's up there with some phenomenal ratings. Rico Lewis, one of the best that I see, and Vanat, he's better than Dovbeek was at Girona now, because he is a 90. Tiskankov still doing very well. Nipan's actually outscored Cherky in our 2 City signings. Krejci with 8 from defense. Got to be in the team of the season. As the team of the Liga season, we finished 3rd, still behind Barcelona and Real. So maybe not just there just yet. The Copa de España is won by Barca. We lost to them in the semi-finals, but we are still in that Champions League. Aiming for a semi, which we got in the Copa, a Champions League place we got in the league, and a 7th place means no playoff round. Very well going, with 1 defeat and beating Bayern Munich 6-4. Then Arsenal beat them 5-3. This is looking quite decent. Paris Saint-Germain 5-4, and we did avoid Barcelona in this competition, as Spain must be ruling, but Liverpool are the team we face. It's basically Man City's B team against Liverpool's A. In the final in Season 4, unless Arnie Slot changes the lineups around, I do want to see the team of the season for La Liga before we actually dance into it. Only Krejci actually makes it. That is criminal for a 3rd place finish. Yes, I know we shouldn't have really done it. Luis Skelly over Rico Lewis? I don't get it, as this is the team we're playing. Not much of a change, because we're only 4th 4 seasons deep. It's basically Liverpool with the addition of David Raya. So they've took the best goalie in the Premier League, combined it with the last year's best team, and we have a suspended right-back Arnau Martinez. Our captain, by the way, and I don't know who it's actually put there in the place. It is Gibby. Never heard of him. I'm guessing he's not a good one, and we've given the ball straight away onto Isaac. Crazy good block. This could be a real long day, but we're going to hope that it isn't. Brian Hill. Don't recognise him with his short hair, but that's a good move. Hill, if he can drill the ball into the box, he's won a penalty. What is this genuinely for? Canate? Oh, he's made it hit his own hand. He's absolutely had a stinker. And it's Ty Skankov going back to the captaincy. He needs to put these top bins, and we need to take a lead, as we do. I believe in Berlin. Don't know which stadium it is, but our Ukrainian beast, or second beast, Van Aert, the striker, did not take it. Puts us 1-0 up in Germany, and what a fine finish. We've made the final by a bit of a fluke, and now we've fluked our way into the lead. Glorious doings, as now Brian Hill onto Van Aert. Van Aert to try and cut inside. It's blocked off a little, but there's no foul given, and now we can run again. Brian Hill tried to step away from Stevenson. They don't have a right back as well as us, but he makes the tackle successfully so, and we stop them attacking Oscari in our goal because he's my big worry point. I know he's good, but he is still quite young and may not be good for now in this finale. But Alejo Frances, what a tackle. Ty Skankov, what a ball through. Ivan Martin, it's on frontwards to Ryan Cherky trying to skill away from Canate. And he's actually won a foul. He's going to take this. What's happening with the wall? The Liverpool walls run away. They must trust David Raya, and Cherky hits the crossbar. You cannot simply be missing that free kick. Still, should have doubled our lead going into the second half, where they did have the pop shot with Isaac. Needed to squeeze that ball through properly. Cody Hatpo's been stopped by Gibby, who's been really good as the right back. And now we're through kind of again with Van Aert. He's going to wait for Ty Skankov on the overlap. Man in the middle. Ty Skankov might go alone. The captain does, and he's taking over the other Ukrainian. Sure, assisted by him, but really doing a lot better. Struggling to get back is the number 33, as that is a finish. On the angle as well, as Gibby picks the ball up here. Frances through the middle onto Cherky. Cherky around. Ty Skankov. Can we grab a third here in the second half? We are playing the clock very well as Ghibli runs inside to Nico Gonzalez. Facing up Gravenberg and McAllister into Isaac. We've missed a tackle. Alejandro Isaac. I don't know what's happening. It's hit the crossbar. And our luck remains with us. We've got 15 minutes of this first half left. Brian Hill running through. If there's a back heel on there, it does work. And Martin's pin perfect. All saved till that finish. He has scored 8 goals as a defender. As another corner ball here. Ty Skankov, cleared by Rudiger. Up to Isaac, but our defense has been on it this game. This Ghibli fella, man. Where the heck has he come from? Maybe in our reserves, and he's doing a good job of being a false back as well, stepping into the midfield as we step up to the challenge of Liverpool, securing ourselves that Champions League. And Ty Skankov got us there. His brace in this finale surely warrants lifting the trophy, as there he goes. Brilliant stuff. Really enjoyed this type of rebuild, going with the ownership group. Maybe should try it with Chelsea or any other teams or any other challenges. Let me know in the comments below, and click here for videos recommended to you by YouTube.